What you are about to hear is not just another message. It's not a coincidence that these words have reached you at this exact moment in your life. If they've found their way to your ears, it's because the universe is trying to tell you something only a few will be able to grasp. This isn't casual knowledge. It is a truth reserved for those marked by something greater. Only those who have always felt different, who sensed they didn't quite belong in the rigid structures of this world, will be able to truly receive and absorb what is about to be unveiled. Since ancient times, certain individuals have stood apart, not by choice but by essence. They carried an energy, a presence, a calling that made them different, and walking this path has never been easy. To be one of them means to exist in a world that often misunderstands you, a world that judges quickly, labels unfairly, and points fingers without ever truly seeing who you are. The renowned Swiss psychologist Carl Jung spoke of individuals bound to a unique destiny, souls born with heightened sensitivity and a mission larger than themselves. Jung understood something crucial. Those who descend into the depths of doubt, rejection, and suffering are the very same ones destined to experience the most profound transformations. Perhaps you've felt unjustly attacked. Maybe you've been wounded in ways you struggle to articulate. It's possible that people have tried to shrink you, dim your light, or silence your voice. And if they made you question yourself, if they made you cry, they have no idea what they were actually triggering within you. Because every tear you shed was never a symbol of defeat. It was the beginning of something far more powerful. Before we continue, I ask you to do something small but meaningful. If these words are resonating with something deep within you, if a part of you knows this is not random, leave the number 11 in the comments right now. Don't hesitate. Don't overthink. That number isn't just a figure. It's a declaration, a sign that your energy is aligning with the right frequency. It's a signal that the universe is responding to your awakening. And if you feel called to, like this video and subscribe to the channel. What's coming next isn't meant for just anyone. It's for those who are ready, those whose time has come. Now listen closely. What they did to try and break you has already set something in motion that they can no longer control. They thought that mocking you, ignoring you, or betraying you would weaken you. They believed their words and actions could trap you in darkness forever, but what they could never predict is that their cruelty, their disregard, would awaken something ancient and unstoppable within you. Carl Jung once said, "One does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious." And that is precisely what happened to you. In the moment of your greatest pain, in that instant when you believed all was lost, a shift began. A transformation was set in motion, one they will never be able to comprehend. Because what they didn't understand is that every tear you cried wasn't weakness. It was alchemy, a sacred process of transmuting suffering into strength. Each drop of pain became fuel. It wasn't the end, it was the beginning. What once felt like cruel injustice is now the very fire that is lifting you upward. What once felt like betrayal is now revealed as the missing piece to the puzzle of your destiny. Jung spoke of individuation, the process by which a human being becomes who they were always meant to be. And that journey often begins in pain, for it is through the fire of suffering that the deepest truths are forged. Jesus once said in Matthew 5:4, "Blessed are those who mourn, for they shall be comforted." But that's not merely a promise of emotional relief, it's a universal principle. The energy released through the suffering of a chosen soul does not dissolve. It does not fade. It transforms. It becomes something vast and unstoppable. And now, the very people who tried to snuff out your light will have no choice but to witness your rise, with awe and disbelief. Because now the fire of transformation burns brightly within you. And those who harmed you are beginning to feel the weight of their own actions, not because you seek revenge, not because you wish them pain, but because that is how the laws of the universe operate. What they sowed is now returning. What they sent against you is making its way back with a power they never anticipated. Carl Jung taught that everything that irritates us about others can lead us to a deeper understanding of ourselves. And maybe, right now, in this very moment, the ones who once scorned you, who minimized your worth, are facing their own demons. Caught in an energy they themselves unleashed, now unable to escape its reach. Look around. Pay attention. Everything is shifting. The ones who used to walk with arrogant confidence now carry an invisible weight. They sense that something is off. Their paths, once smooth, are now filled with resistance. What once came easily now feels like an endless struggle. And what's more, they can't explain it. They feel the tension. They sense the unease, but they don't know where it's coming from. What they never grasped is this: energy always returns to its source, and now that current is flowing back. You, who once wept in silence, who once doubted your own strength, are awakening. Your transformation is no longer a possibility. It is a certainty. And what is coming next will be something they could never understand. They tried to move on, to continue their lives as though nothing had happened. But something has changed, something they cannot see, but can feel in the depths of their being. They try to advance, but each step feels heavier. They attempt their old strategies, but they no longer work. They're confused. They don't see the connection between what they did and what they're experiencing now. But you do. You understand. You know that when a chosen one suffers, the universe listens. You know that when someone interferes with the purpose of a marked soul, they are not merely wounding a person, but disturbing the balance of something far greater than they could ever imagine. Carl Jung spoke of the collective unconscious, of the deep web of connections between our actions and the energy we shape in this world. And that is what is unfolding now. They believed they could play with your fate, that they could hurt you without consequence, that they could diminish your light and walk away untouched. But what they didn't realize is that every act against you was a stroke written into their own fate. Energy never disappears. It never dies. It only shifts direction. And now, everything they aimed at you is coming back, stronger than ever. But here is the most powerful truth of all. You didn't have to do anything. You didn't need to retaliate. You didn't need to answer their hate with more hate, because the justice of the chosen does not follow the rules of the world. It unfolds at a level so profound, so elevated, that they cannot even perceive it. Jung once said, "What you resist persists." And now they are trapped in the very energy they tried to cast over you. They thought they could move on, that life would go on as usual. But deep down they feel the shift. What once brought them comfort now feeds their anxiety. What once brought them joy now leaves them hollow. Those who laughed at your pain now carry an inexplicable weight. Those who tried to make you question yourself now live haunted by their own insecurities. Those who turned their backs on you now feel the world turning its back on them. This isn't coincidence, this isn't luck or accident. It is the manifestation of an ancient truth. They should have never hurt you. But the most remarkable part is this: you're no longer vibrating at the same frequency. What once wounded you now has no power over you. What once made you doubt has lost its grip. Because your tears were never wasted. Your suffering was never punishment. It was preparation. It was the sacred work of transformation. The universe never leaves a chosen one in the same place where they were broken. And now that your pain has turned to wisdom, at this point only one question remains, and it's not a small one. What are you going to do with this new strength that now burns within you? This strength wasn't born from comfort, ease, or fleeting joy. It came from the long nights when you couldn't sleep, from the silent tears that fell without anyone noticing, from the kind of pain that made time feel endless. And what they never understood, what they were never prepared to understand, is that when they made you cry, when they tried to break your spirit, when they believed that their cruelty, their mockery, their betrayal would destroy you, all they really did was awaken something ancient and indestructible inside you, a force that is now fully unleashed, completely outside their control. Carl Jung put it simply: you do not reach enlightenment by dreaming of the light, but by making the darkness conscious. And that is exactly what happened to you. You didn't run from the darkness. You stood in it. You bled in it. You opened your eyes in it. And because of that, you saw yourself clearly for the very first time. Every tear you shed was not a sign of weakness. It was a sacred signal, a spiritual trumpet, announcing that you were entering the most critical stage of your evolution. They thought they were weakening you. In truth, they were speeding up your transformation. They thought they could reduce you to something small, controllable, forgettable. But all they did was make you more powerful than they could ever imagine. They didn't realize that by making you suffer, they were signing their own fate. They didn't understand that touching someone who carries the energy you carry is like lighting a fire they'll never be able to put out. Because the tears of someone chosen are not like the tears of anyone else. When someone chosen cries, they are not falling, they are releasing. They are letting go of everything that no longer serves them. They are not being defeated. They are preparing for something greater. What looks like loss is, in truth, preparation for elevation, a preparation for an expansion so great that those who once harmed you won't even be able to comprehend what you've become. What they never understood, and still don't, is that the tears of the chosen are not an end. They are the beginning, the very moment when the balance starts to tip in your favor. They are the spark that sets the universe into motion, aligning everything to restore what was lost, to recalibrate the energy, to fulfill a purpose far beyond human understanding. Jesus once said, in Matthew 5:4, "Blessed are those who mourn, for they shall be comforted." But this was not just a promise of emotional healing. It is a universal principle. The energy released through the suffering of someone chosen does not vanish. It transforms. It becomes something massive, something radiant, something unstoppable. And now, even those who once tried to hurt you are beginning to sense it. Not because you wished them harm, not because you wanted revenge, but because this is how the universal laws work. Every action they took against you, every cruel word, every manipulative silence, every moment of betrayal, generated an energy that is now returning to its origin. And it's not returning quietly. It's returning with force, with intensity, with purpose. And you see it now, you can feel it. You notice it in their eyes, in the way they look at you but can't quite hold your gaze. You sense it in their presence, the weight they carry, the silent discomfort they try to mask. The same people who once stood tall over your pain now move through life burdened by something invisible, something heavy. They might not admit it, they might not say a word, but deep down, in the quiet corners of their own soul, they know. They know something has shifted. They know something is not right, and they don't know how to fix it. They can't trace it back to you, but you can. You know exactly where it began. Because when someone chosen suffers, the universe answers. When a sacred soul is wounded, it is not just a person who is harmed, a divine plan is disrupted. And those who caused that disruption are now caught in a spiral they cannot escape, not because you cursed them, but because energy does not vanish. It only changes direction. And now everything they did to you is coming back. Not in the same form, but with equal intensity. The force they unleashed is now finding its way home. And the most incredible part, you didn't have to do a single thing. You didn't lower yourself. You didn't retaliate. You didn't fight them on their level. You didn't seek justice with your own hands, because the justice of the chosen does not operate on the same laws that govern this world. Carl Jung once said that until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. And that is exactly what is happening to them. They are being pulled by forces they don't understand, because they refuse to acknowledge the truth. The energy they directed toward you never disappeared. It just turned around. They think they can escape it, that they can continue their lives as if nothing happened. But deep within, something feels wrong. They feel a hollowness they can't explain, a restlessness they can't soothe, a haunting sense that they've lost something they can never get back. And the very ones who once mocked your pain now walk with an ache they can't name. The ones who made you question your worth now question everything about themselves. Those who turned their backs on you now feel abandoned by the very world they once controlled. This isn't coincidence, this isn't chance. This is the return of energy, the echo of what they sent out. This is the consequence they never believed would come. But here's the most powerful truth. You are no longer vibrating on the same frequency as them. What used to hurt you can no longer touch you. What once weighed you down now passes through you without effect, because each tear you shed was not wasted. Every night of doubt, every moment of suffering, it all belonged to a much larger process, a sacred initiation, a rebirth. Jung spoke of the shadow, the hidden parts of ourselves we often fear to face. But you didn't just face your shadow. You walked through it. You met it. You listened to it. You transformed it. And now the universe will never allow you to remain in the same place where you were once broken. Pain has been replaced with power. Confusion gave way to clarity. What looked like a downfall was actually the greatest launch of your entire life. And now again, the only question that truly matters is, what will you do with this new strength? Because now, chosen one, everything begins to accelerate. The path is open. The weight is gone. And what once felt stuck is finally moving and fast. The energy has shifted. The scales have reset. And what is coming toward you isn't just a reward for surviving what you went through. It's not merely closure. It is a total transformation. Things don't change unless you're willing to change first. You were tested, shaped, and refined by every challenge that crossed your path. You walked through fire, and instead of it breaking you, it made you stronger. And now the universe waits for your response, because what's coming next isn't for just anyone. It's reserved for those who are truly ready, completely certain, and free of doubt. This is where many fall. The moment the energy begins shifting in their favor, the doubt sneaks in. They question whether they deserve it, whether it's real, or whether they're ready to hold on to something so big. But here's the truth. Manifestation isn't just about calling in what you want. It's about living, speaking, and moving as if it's already yours. If you let doubt take over, even for a moment, you're sending a signal of resistance, slowing down what's already on its way to you. And after everything you've been through, after being tested and proving your strength, this is not the moment to hesitate. The scales have finally tipped in your favor. The worst thing you could do now is look back or question how far you've come. Look around. Those who tried to hurt you are facing the consequences of their own actions. Those who tried to dim your light are now lost in the shadows they created. And while they remain stuck, you've kept moving, rising, growing, expanding. That alone is proof. Nothing they did could stop you. In fact, it turned you into something even greater. But here's the most important part. It's not over. Now that the energy has balanced and justice has been served, the final test begins. And this test has nothing to do with others. It's about you, because what's coming will change everything. But first, you must show you're truly ready. And the only way to do that is to act as if it's already yours. Walk like someone who's already been rewarded. Speak with the certainty of someone who knows their destiny is unfolding. Think, feel, and move as the person who has already arrived at their purpose. Because the truth is, you already have. What's coming is just the physical reflection of what's already been claimed in the spiritual realm. Now you just have to hold the vibration long enough for reality to catch up to your frequency. The universe has spoken. It has already said, this is your time. But now the real question is, will you rise to meet it, or will you fall into doubt at the final hour? Everything has shifted. The energy has aligned. The pieces are in place. What once felt out of reach is now your greatest advantage. But this is the moment where your thoughts, your words, and your actions matter more than ever, because you're no longer operating at the same level. Everything you think, say, and do now manifests faster than ever before. That means you cannot allow a single doubt to enter your mind. Not one thought that doesn't match the reality you're creating. The universe already decided, this is your moment. Now the only decision left is yours. Will you claim what's been yours all along, or will you hesitate when it finally arrives? When things begin to shift in your favor, many people make the same mistake. They start to doubt. They wonder if they're worthy, if it's too good to be true, if it might all fall apart. That fear, that hesitation, it's the very thing that blocks the blessing. But that can't be your story, because what's coming is bigger than you imagined, and if the universe is sending it to you now, it's because you've been made ready. Look around. Feel the shift. What once seemed impossible now feels natural. Doors that were shut are opening. The resistance you used to face? Gone. None of this is random. Every experience, every hardship, every tear was part of your preparation. Nothing was wasted. Everything shaped you into the person who could stand at this threshold without a single doubt of who they are or what they deserve. So now, walk forward with absolute certainty. Don't give power to past wounds. Don't look back. The pain, the betrayal, the setbacks, they no longer belong in your present. Holding on to them will only hold you back. Now is the time for expansion, for growth, for the full expression of everything you've been waiting for. And the only way to receive it is to match the energy of already having it. Because when your vibration aligns, the world has no choice but to respond. Look how everything is falling into place. The right people, the right opportunities, the clear signs, they're all showing up. And most importantly, you are different now. The way you think, the way you speak, the way you carry yourself, you've evolved. The old fears no longer live here. The need for external validation has faded. You finally understand that the universe was never against you. It was always preparing you. And now it's ready to hand you what's yours. So the only question that remains is, will you receive it with unwavering confidence or doubt at the final moment? This is the last test. The universe wants to see if you're really ready. And the only way to prove it is to hold the energy steady until the very end. Walk as someone already blessed. Speak with the authority of someone who already arrived. Think like the person who always knew they were destined for more. Because the truth is, you are. There's nothing left to prove, nothing to wait for. The past is behind you. The lessons are learned. And what's next is nothing short of a complete transformation. But there's one thing you must remember before stepping forward. The final barrier is not luck, not action, not even effort. It's mindset. It's how you see yourself, how you hold your own energy, how you embody what's already yours. Because what's coming isn't a gift, it's the result of your growth. And now the only thing left is for you to act like it's always been yours.